Yeah, sorry about the connection issues. I booted out, but thank you. It sounds like there was some response to the question, so apologize about that.
We're all just chatting in here. I don't think we've got
Jonathan?
Brian or Jonathan on the call yet. Hopefully.
Yeah. Byron sends his regrets as well. He had a family emergency come up today, and so he couldn't be at the conference or be here, but he does say hello. And yeah, I'm happy to also answer any questions too about what we shared in terms of our program. It's still very new, as we shared. We started working together about right before the pandemic started, and then we did some meetings together, and then really started putting out our podcast in the fall time. And so we changed a lot of things from our original thoughts behind it based on the situation. But it's been really interesting feedback so far. We've worked with people in education, people in technology, people in religious spaces. And we're really looking forward to our certificate program to kind of see a deeper community that can be built from the program rather than just kind of sporadic engagement.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the program itself? Kind of step back, because I'm not really clear on what the program is.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So our Ignite Institute, we are an enterprise of Pacific School of Religion, which is a seminary in Berkeley. And we basically have kind of three components to our work so far. We have a podcast that we put out that we shared a little bit about. We have kind of online courses that we call living workshops, where people can kind of take, which are kind of a self-paced learning course that you can do digitally. And then we're starting a certificate program, which is an 8-week kind of cohort-like experience, where we're going to actually be introducing guest speakers. We're going to be doing some cohort like facilitated guided work around case studies. And then we're going to invite the participants to come up with a case study in their own leadership context that they can apply some of what we're discussing. So those are kind of the three domains of our work. We have the podcast, the online courses, and then we're going to have an 8-week kind of learning cohort experience.
Great, thank you.
Do you have links? Podcast is particularly interesting.
We do, yeah. Let me put it in the chat for you here. Send you a link. Do you have a preference like Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any of them? Okay.
Any works. Spotify is probably what I'll hit.
Spotify is great, yeah.
Okay, let me send you a link here on Spotify. And I'd be curious for any of you, and you might have already answered this, so please forgive me again, but in terms of this idea of how folks can be sustained in the work of social transformation that can be very discouraging and sometimes can fill us with despair, kind of ways in which you're seeing, like whether it's programs or experiences that are really supporting people in that. Would love to hear about what's working too from you all in that.
Yeah, we've just been chatting in here, actually waiting. I don't think your co-speaker, Jonathan, ever popped in. So we're just hanging out, but happy to, contribute and continue the conversation.
And I wouldn't, the word despair actually has never occurred to me. Perhaps because I don't do direct service to the poor, where there are a lot of despairing stories and there's a lot that goes on that is despairing. But when you get into systems level work in social innovation itself is creative and exciting and fast moving. And you have the ability to build scale indirectly by kind of touching on others who are doing direct service or who are touching on others. So since I shifted to this world of social innovation about 10 years ago from cleaning up hazardous waste sites and all kinds of other like mucky environmental scientist stuff. It's been amazing. And maybe because I was cleaning up hazardous waste sites, which is not like the world's best work, and I almost felt like there's a fairy tale with the sorcerer's apprentice and the buckets of water coming in and these brooms are dancing and the water just keeps coming faster and faster. Well, that's what it feels like when you're cleaning up waste sites because there's more and more waste sites being created than you could ever clean up. And so it outpaces you. But once you get into looking for the systems and where the levers are, and educating young people is clearly a lever, and higher education is a lever, really important levers where you can put armies out there way beyond your own personal impact work. It gets really fun. And that's sort of how I would think about the last 10 years of work.
Thank you, Carey. Yeah, absolutely. I like that. Yeah, thinking about the levers that have greater impact than obviously one individual can. Thank you. Sounds really interesting to hear about. Are there others that have found things to be more helpful than not in terms of engaging big scale challenges and how to stay hopeful and engaged in that? On the advisory council, Samantha?
Sorry, that was a mistake.
Oh, okay.
Are you just repeating the question from the chat? Is that what you're looking for?
We were, yeah. I missed the first maybe response, so people might have already shared on it, but I was just asking because I got kicked out of the room.
Okay. One thing that I've noticed that is helpful for replenishing students is just having those relationships and taking time to replenish those relationships. I've noticed that, like, one, when I acknowledge that I noticed something, that's a win. So, I'm noticing that the energy is a bit low, or I've noticed that you're feeling that you seem to be upset or tired. I think that often has been helpful. And then I think moving on to, like, what are ways that I can support you as you are trying to rest? And I think one thing that I've been really trying to do is encourage rest and sharing that rest is resilience. And even by resting, you are resisting these systems that tell you that productivity is the thing that is most valued. So I think just really focusing on rest and giving them opportunities to do that through, I just like hosted a workshop with a community leader who was giving like advice and like information on how we can turn to our kind of ancestral understanding and kind of intuition to do the work that we really want to do. So I found that to be really helpful.
And what do you mean by rest?
That. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just wondering, what do you mean by rest?
Yeah, I mean, I think rest can take different forms. It could be physically getting into bed and curling up, but it could also be mental rest where you're not engaging with activities that are taxing. It can also be in the form of play. So people like to quilt to rest, or, you know, I personally enjoy puzzles, and that's something that I have been finding restful. Maybe it's being in the company of others, well, safely in your pod, given COVID. So yeah, I think also identifying what are those practices that have kept people resilient and mindful and ready to do the work, and really taking the time to do that. I think also in some of these spaces that I've been, especially around like social innovation and social entrepreneurship, there has been like this uptick in like mindfulness and using the apps and meditation, and that is sometimes not part of people's practice. So as far as like ancestral intuition and wisdom, it's just relying on those things that actually have worked for you, and maybe you never kind of identified those things as restful, or but you recognize or you feel that you feel revived after doing those activities. So.
And there's been a lot of focus on meditation and yoga and whatever as that kind of wellness renewal. But for some people, I think it can come in the form of community and being really active and engaged with people and not retreated. And so I love what you just said, Samantha, about it being a personal thing. and not letting anyone else define it for you.
Yeah,
And I
like
have to
that.
apologize. I have to log off because I'm supposed to be at another part of the exchange at 7:15. But it's been wonderful to meet you all, and I wish you a great session.
Thank you, Carey.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we are concluding on time, but Samantha, I just wanted to follow up. Thank you so much for sharing that and the ancestral intuition. I'm gonna hold on to that. I love that phrase, and yeah, I think that has tremendous power. That's been something I've been trying to engage in my own walk. My family are both migrants, and so a lot of those stories are piecing back together and figuring that out. But as I kind of do, I find a lot of renewal in that. So thank you for sharing. But thank you to each of you for attending this session on our work, and would love to continue to connect over the conference. I hope there were some good things that sparked within you, but I'm very thankful for your time and attention. So appreciate it.